Thank you for listening to the Jack Vale Show with Madysyn.
Hello, everybody.
Sometimes we start talking before the show starts, before we start recording, and it gets really interesting. And sometimes it has nothing to do with what the agenda is.
Yeah.
And so let's finish talking about that real quick. You don't like the way you said, "Yeah," do you?
No.
I saw it all over your face.
Well, you know what? And I haven't listened to one of these podcasts.
What?
I haven't listened to them.
What?
Because I hate hearing it. I hate hearing my own voice. I'm like, oh, turn that off. I don't want to listen to it.
I've heard. Oh, you're one of these. I know you. You're one of these like movie stars. You're like, I didn't even see the movie, and they're like the biggest star of the movie. We were talking about the entertainment industry and creepy stuff that we saw, just kind of being in it. Not like we're anything, like these big giant celebrities, but still, we've seen some stuff. And we were talking. I was just showing Maddie an old video of a company called Awesomeness TV that she never even saw this video that I was in. And it was based on, there was a movie called like The Internship, I think, or something, or The Intern.
Oh, okay.
And so this was I think like Seth Rogen was in it maybe, or I don't know. Anyway, it's a comedy, and Vince Vaughn, I think, might have been in it. Do you know who that is?
Yes.
Okay, well anyway.
I just can't put a face to the name.
They did Awesomeness TV, did this parody. And they had me go out. And anyway, that led us down this whole rabbit trail of like things that we've seen that kind of are disturbing in the industry, be it YouTube, content or movies, TV shows, and stuff like that. There's a lot of creepy stuff out there. And to finish our conversation real fast, it was about this guy that I met on the set. You brought this up. The guy from like a TV show you were on, or a movie or something? What was it?
It was an Awesomeness TV thing.
Oh, like it was?
Okay. I don't know what it was. It was some TV show.
So you were maybe what, 14?
14, yeah.
Okay. So me and your mom were backstage, like in a green room or something, talking to this guy who was a father of somebody who I think were acting with, like a kid.
Yeah, sweet kid.
Yeah, he was a really nice boy. And I was floored at some of the stuff that this dude was talking about. He literally said, I'm going to tell you word for word to me and your mom. The more we got to talk to him, the more he felt comfortable to like share things.
Right.
And he started talking about the entertainment world and how many times his kid gets booked and all this kind of stuff, which is totally fine. That's normal. You brag about your kids. And then he started saying like, he's not married. He basically manufactured a kid to become famous in the entertainment industry. And he almost worded it exactly like that.
That's
it was
so
really
icky.
creepy.
I just cannot believe that people have the capacity to do that.
And I know. And one of the things that he said was he started talking about how he looked at child stars and he saw how a kid would get famous. And he talked about like Corey Haim and the Coreys, Corey Feldman, which you don't know who do you know who they are?
I think so. From
back in the day, the two Coreys,
Okay.
In the 80s they were they were best friends, and they were these massive, their names both happen to be Corey. Anyways, and he kind of grew up in this like child star phenomena, and thought to himself one day, I could manufacture this, I could create this, and literally adopted this kid for that purpose, and he was there on set. Anyway, it was just, what a great way to start the show.
So terrible.
But it reminded me, because we were talking about all this other stuff. Well, we just kind of feel like moving on to something a little bit more, actually not positive. We're gonna move on to another story, but I do want to talk about some stuff that's going on today in
the world.
In the world and in pop culture and stuff like that. Racism in America. Nah, not really. We're not. I'm just kidding. We're not really gonna, because we want to keep things kind of light here.
Yeah.
But it might be hard to do it on this topic, but I do want to talk about it because the Sesame Street thing.
Yeah.
Okay. I see you're very sad about what's going on.
That was horrible. Those are the saddest videos I've ever seen, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. If you didn't see it, there was a Sesame Street parade, right? And I think it was in Pennsylvania at
I don't know where it was.
Sesame Place or whatever. And this giant puppet was walking down the street. I'm sure if you're listening to this, you probably saw this by now. This clip went totally viral and completely dissed these two little black girls. And kind of like, I saw the character walking towards them and making this like hand motion over their heads, kind of like, and then shaking and then moving on, right? And it appears that the girls are kind of mortified or disheartened in some way.
Right. Because not only does he not like high five or hug the kids, but then there's like 2 little black girls and then 2 or 3 white kids, and he will like high five all the white kids, but he's not showing the black girls any attention. Or I don't know if there were boys as well, but
let me ask you a question, and this is just a question. I'm not taking a side one way or another, but I just want to ask you this. This was my problem with it. Sesame Street came out after that event occurred, and right away, and they said, we want something to the effect of, we want to let you know that you can't always have a good proportionate, like you don't know where the person is inside the outfit and what they can and cannot see. So there was something, we're very sorry that this happened, blah, blah, blah. They were not making an assumption one way or another or a conclusion as to what actually happened, because when you're in one of these giant costumes, your head is a lot lower than you know. So it looks like a giant character in a parade could be reacting to something when in fact they're not reacting to that at all.
Did you see just that one video, or did you see all of them? Because there's there were different characters with different children as well, with very similar things, and not even just like the weird like hand motions or whatever they're ignoring. There was also one where this character was in a big suit, sees 2, or there was, I think it was just one black girl, sees her from like far away and starts like running up to her, and she like is thinking, oh, he's like gonna give me a hug or something, and just knocks her over, like really knocks her over.
Oh, I saw that. That was a totally different time you're talking about.
No,
it was the same day.
That was the same parade.
It was during the same time? I don't think so. I think that was a different like moment or a different day or something. But it was.
I don't think so. Well, either
your
way,
point
I
still
saw
stands.
like multiple different videos of different characters doing the same thing. Like 2 kids the same height. High fives for you, not for you.
Mm-hmm. Well, okay. So if that's true, that's outrageous.
Oh my gosh, I thought it was crazy.
Yeah. I promise I'm not trying to be devil's advocate. I just think hold on, don't look at me like that. Let me explain, because here's why I'm saying that. Do you know where Sesame Place is?
No.
Okay. It's in Pennsylvania, okay? In a very, very versatile area, okay? So you have people of so many races, lots and lots of black families going to these things, okay? You have no idea. I want to see the person inside the costume, because they're known to hire. They hire a lot of black people to be in. So what would happen? So here's my point. What would you think if they show their faces, if we find out that the person in the outfit is a black actor or a person that they hired for that? Then how would you view the whole situation?
The same. Because it's still...
black people being racist towards black kids?
Yeah, that's...
Wait, what are you talking about? How is that even... How could that be a thing?
I think anyone... Okay. Because if you watch all of the videos, no matter like who or what race they are, the person in the suit, it really looks like it was done purposefully. It does not... It doesn't... Because there's so many different clips. It's not just like one thing. It's like, oh, they probably couldn't see, you know. It really looks purposeful. And so whatever race the person was in the costume, it's still terrible. Well,
I agree. If as it unfolds, I will say this. I've just learned, and here's probably why I play devil's advocate so much of the time. I have seen some horrific things, and I've jumped to conclusions many, many times because of how something looked. And then slowly, as things started to unfold, you would realize, oh, I guess we didn't know the whole story. And what I mean by that is all of the stuff that was on camera where perhaps something similar happened to a whole bunch of white kids. What if somebody was just having a bad day inside the costume and they were just doing that to all kinds of kids of all kinds of races? Would it make a difference?
It would still be terrible.
It would still be terrible, I agree. But it wouldn't make it a race issue, right? Or would it still?
No, had the character been like dissing all of the children there, no matter the race, it wouldn't be a race issue.
See, so that's what I mean.
But
I think
that isn't the case.
Well, we don't know because we saw that itty bitty 5-second clip.
I didn't
so we
see
don't
a
know.
5-second clip though. I saw multiple clips.
Okay, well,
That's what I'm saying.
That's all I'm saying is it's going to be interesting to watch it unfold. If this thing unfolds and all of a sudden,
I hope that the people
you know,
get to reveal themselves, or other people.
I do
get
too.
To.
But who would want to though? Like no matter how this thing shakes out,
Oh, yeah,
if I were in that costume, I would fight
not that
to
they
not
would, but
be
I just
revealed.
mean like
right?
something should happen to them.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
Okay, another question for you.
Okay.
In your opinion, do you? I don't know. Like, what if somebody was? How do you? Here's the question: how do you know that something today is racist behavior when you see how somebody acts around somebody of somebody of color? In other words, when you see someone act in a negative light around somebody of color, does it mean automatic racism, or does it mean this guy's a jerk and maybe he's a jerk to everybody? But we don't know because we only saw one clip.
Well, I don't have any idea of how to answer that question.
You don't know?
I mean, because that just depends on the individual.
It's just a question for me. I don't know.
That just depends on who the person is and whether or not, like, they are or not. I don't know.
I mean, I would have expected something like this from Oscar. Oscar, the Grouch coming through here, being pissed off at everybody. It's just a question. I'm just wondering because, you know, it's every time we turn around, there's something going on. And I know, believe me, I know that crap exists. And I can't even believe, I mean, I can, but unfortunately, it's hard to believe that stuff is out there in the world.
Yeah.
It's very disheartening. But I know about the other video that you're talking about where something very similar happened and stuff like that. So now there's this big Sesame Street. People are banning Sesame Street, I think. Wanting to go. Yeah, they don't want to go to Sesame Place to the park. To the park.
Right.
Bad things are happening, whether it's racism or not. Bad things are happening in parks all across the country. Disneyland. You hear about the thing with Disneyland, the big brawl that just happened?
No.
Did you hear about that? Oh my gosh, a big fight broke out in Disneyland. I don't know what it is. People are just stressed out today. You didn't know about this?
No, I didn't hear about that.
Okay, I'm gonna read to you the headline. You have to listen to this. Okay, here it is.
I don't really read the news. Somebody
wrote it. They said it's a brawl world after all. Video shows wild fight at Disney World led to one family being banned for life.
Oh my gosh.
It's terrible.
It was like two families, like.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, speaking of two families fighting, there's this trend going around on TikTok that I think is hilarious. And it's of parents, and they go into the room with their kid, and they're like, hey, like, so say I was a mom and my kid was like a young girl. I would be like, hey, this girl next door, she's trying to fight me, and she has a little kid, and so I need you to come with me so we can fight them together. I'll take the mom, you take the kid. And it's so funny to see the kids' reactions.
Okay. I saw one of those videos. It was like a TikTok or something. Mm-hmm. That's trending. That's going crazy. Everybody's doing this.
It's so funny because some of the kids like get really scared and they're like, I don't want to fight this kid. And then some of them are like, yup, let's go,
let's
mama.
bring it on. And then
you
know what kind of family this kid is from. Like, let's take care of business.
It's so funny.
Yeah, that's the one that I saw. I saw the one where the kid was like ready to take on his evil opponent.
There was one where this girl she was so little she could like barely talk, and she was like, to fight her daughter, and her mom was like, yeah, you gotta help me get her, and she was like, I'm gonna beat her.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe. So these kids, but that's horrible. These kids are being raised to fight.
No,
and by their reaction,
raised to defend their mom and their family. If someone was coming at me and their dad and daughter needed to fight, and I was like, Dad, this girl is trying to fight me and her dad. You'd help me fight her dad. Wouldn't you?
No, yes, but usually a little kid would be like, it would have to be that moment where you're caught up in the moment of the fight and you run in, right? That's when you feel that way.
Yeah.
Not when your mom comes to you, there's nothing going on. Your mom's telling you a story about outside there's this blah, 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 blah. It's hard to know what to do because you don't see any action or activity going on. If
You
I was
just gotta go.
You just gotta go.
And so most of them did. It
You
was
would be a
so funny.
scrapper, wouldn't you? You'd be like, yeah. Would you?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Good for you.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I'd have to get a good look at her first, make sure we're on the same level.
Yeah.
There's not much I can do, but
I'm not, if you're listening to this, I hope you don't think like, I don't want people to get the wrong idea that I'm like questioning this whole Sesame Street racism, thing. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I always wonder because so many times in the past, people have jumped the gun on these stories. And sometimes it ends up there was no racism at all. It was just somebody having a bad day and it happened to be somebody of color that they took something out on. I hope that's what it was. Either way, it was pretty sad for the kids.
it was very sad.
Yeah.
Those poor little kids.
Yeah. You're very sad about it. I can hear that. Do you think it was really like detrimental? Like it was, they were devastated?
Okay, she had to have been like 3 years old. Could you imagine like open arms going up to a character and then they just like body slam you to the ground?
And okay, hold on one second.
He pushed her.
Now you're
and
talking
she was,
about
like,
yeah.
fell on her butt. It was so sad.
You're talking about the other video, and I did see that video. However, the bottom part of the costume was like out to here. It was like fat.
Exactly.
Okay. There is disproportionate. Just listen, have you ever been in one of those costumes? It just makes me wonder. Like, I have been in these giant, massive costumes before.
And you know what? You've never pushed over a little kid by accident.
Well, I didn't put on the costumes for kids.
Well, like, especially if you put on a costume with a giant stomach, you're not going to, like...
You're not going to comment, like, then why did you have a costume on if it wasn't for kids? What are you doing wearing a giant? I fully expected some kind of a comment.
Sorry, I didn't even notice. I mean, it's not surprising at all.
Have you ever been in a costume where the eye holes are like
Yes.
down here and then the head is like goes way up like that?
I have.
Okay, so you know that if you don't understand your surroundings enough, well then in that case I guess they shouldn't have been. They had no business running towards a kid anyway.
Exactly.
So there's that. Mm-hmm. I guess that is true.
Right.
Well, I don't know. I think the whole thing is absolutely ridiculous.
I agree.
And like I said, it'll be interesting to find out what actually happens here. But I will tell you that, do you know how many mobsters have been dying on us?
No.
Do you know about this? Because you don't really watch those kind of movies, do you?
Yeah.
You've never seen Goodfellas?
Nope.
You've never seen The Godfather?
No.
Have you ever seen Donnie Brasco?
Nope.
That's a good one.
I haven't seen most movies.
No Sopranos TV show? Never saw any of that stuff? Okay. Let me see here. Well, Tony Sirico just died recently. Tony Sirico? Yeah, he passed away. And then, but most recently, Paul Sorvino, who is also these mobsters are dying.
Are they just really old or what?
I guess, but it's just kind of weird. Like Ray Liotta, when Ray Liotta died, it was like unbelievable. Do you even know? I could be talking a foreign language here to you right now. Mm-hmm. All right. So you probably don't even care because you don't know these people.
Well, that's okay. Some people listening might care.
I can't believe you've never seen Goodfellas.
I know. Everyone has seen that.
Except you.
Yeah. I haven't seen a lot.
I don't know. It's just weird. People are dying. What do you think about that, by the way? Dying. People are dying.
What do I think about people dying?
Yeah, no, but this year, Maddie, people are dying. They're dropping like flies.
Yeah.
Louis Anderson dies, right?
Right.
Bob Saget dies
right after this year.
Yes, and Bob Saget dies, or right after Bob Saget dies. What's his name? Who I like a lot. What is this? The guy who talks like this. Yeah, I don't do it very well.
I don't know who that is.
The guy, what? Chris, who is this? The guy. He was the bird in The Little Mermaid, you know?
Oh.
Yeah. Well, the bird didn't die. I mean, is this the guy who did the voice? Gilbert Gottfried.
Oh, okay.
So Gilbert Gottfried is another comedian. He spoke out about his friend, Bob Saget, who died. And now Gilbert died. like just shortly after. So you got all these people who are dying off, and now all these mobsters are dying. It's the most crazy, bizarre thing in the world. Did you know that recently there was a video that somebody put out, which is like these, they're used to putting out like a monthly video. It's a YouTube channel, can't remember what it was, but they put out a monthly video to go over the celebrities who have died over the past month. Okay. They do this every month. Kind of like when you watch the Oscars or the Grammys, they do a memoriam thing.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you look over the whole year. They do it every month. And most of the people, you don't really know who they are because they work behind the scenes of something or whatever. But this particular YouTube channel, they started having to do it every single week because that many people in the entertainment industry have been dying.
Weird.
Yes.
That's so sad.
I know.
Something's in the air.
Something's in the we could. That's a whole other. Something's in the food. Something's in the food. Something's in the air. There was when my grandmother passed away, and she got Alzheimer's and Parkinson's and all that stuff. When she died, the doctors said it was from a number of things. But we see this all the time. Alzheimer's disease, too much aluminum exposure, too much, there's parasites in the water, there's stuff in the food that's causing Alzheimer's, all kinds of stuff.
Right.
Eat clean.
Yeah.
That's the, don't you think?
No, definitely should.
Eat better.
But
quit eating Ritz crackers.
I know, and I have some in my pantry. They're so good. The little Ritz with the peanut butter.
Oh, they're good. Or the cheese ones?
I don't really like the cheese ones, but.
Really?
Yeah.
You're more of a sweet, you like the sweet
It's
of
just
the
the
peanut
fact
butter?
that the cheese isn't refrigerated makes me feel weird, so I don't eat them.
Oh. That's like the cheese was like in the cans. It's not refrigerated.
Yeah, I don't eat those.
You don't do that.
That's gross.
Did you know that, do you like Philly cheesesteaks? You don't like those?
No, just don't like cheese that much, to be honest.
You're kidding me.
No.
You don't like cheese that much. The most delicious thing on the planet. You really don't like it that much.
Yeah, don't care for it.
Do you
Too
like
much
pizza?
of it. What?
Pizza?
Yeah.
Too much of it. You just went mobster on me out of nowhere. I'm talking about too much. That's all. Not that I don't like it. I was so disappointed when, speaking of, since now the next chapter of this podcast is going to be about Cheese Whiz. I've always loved cheesesteaks.
Okay.
The Philly cheesesteak, you know what I'm talking about.
Yes, I
You
do.
go to a restaurant, you sit down, they give you the menu, you see it right there. Philly, if it's a good restaurant, it probably has an option for a Philly cheesesteak. And then they bring it to you, the cheese is all melted, it's delicious and everything. And where's the best place to get a Philly cheesesteak?
I would
The
not
best
know.
place to get a Philly cheesesteak.
I have no clue.
You have no idea. Okay, hold on. We're gonna just take a minute.
Is
Okay.
it called like Philly cheesesteaks?
Is what? Chris, stop.
I don't know. I don't know the best.
School system has failed.
Chris said our school system has failed. Okay, listen. I'm gonna
For
ask
me
you this.
not knowing where to get a Philly cheesesteak,
What?
I'm
No.
confused and I feel like you guys are making
Okay.
me look
all right.
stupid
All right.
when I don't eat them. So how would I know?
It's okay. No, you're totally fine. Have you never had one?
No, I've had one, I think.
You have had one.
Yeah.
How would you order it? Waitress
No, I think
comes.
I had someone else's. Like I tried it.
The waitress comes and the waitress says, "What can I get for you?" And you know what you want to order, and that's the item that you see. Go ahead and order it.
What is this?
No.
What's going on?
No, okay, I'm the waiter. Okay, I come to your table.
Why?
Ma'am, may I take your order, please? I'm ready to take it. Go ahead. What would you like?
Philly cheesesteak.
Okay, great. So you know how to say it,
Okay.
right? You say it with words. Philly cheesesteak. What area of the United States would you think that the Philly cheesesteak?
Oh, Philadelphia.
That's right. Wow. Yes.
See, that's because this whole time I was thinking restaurants. Oh, what restaurant has the best Philly cheesesteak?
It's just and Philly is just short for Philadelphia, which you know. Yeah.
Yes, I knew that.
Okay.
Oh
good.
my gosh.
Yeah, Philly.
Making
I
me
always
look
wondered why they
stupid.
called it Philly. It's such a silly name.
You have to word your questions better.
Oh, it's my fault?
Yes.
Okay.
If I said to you,
thought I was
where's
asking-
the best place
that-
to get a
okay,
sandwich?
All right, that's fair.
I don't know, Subway. No, obviously it's Connecticut. Anyone would know that.
That's fair, actually. I agree that's totally fair. My point was that I went to Philadelphia for the first time, and when I got there, my friend Ed said, "You got to go to this place, Steve's, place called Steve's Philly cheesesteaks or something like that," and then some other place we went to. Anyways, I was kind of disappointed because little did I know, the guy comes to the window. There's not like a whole bunch of options. You're gonna get a Philly cheesesteak. You got fries, you know. So when you order, you say, "I want a Philly cheesesteak, no onions." I don't want onion. I hate onions. So I say, "I want a Philly cheesesteak, no onions."
Okay.
He goes, "Whiz, no whiz." I'm like, "What the heck? What is this? Whiz, no whiz?" And I look at Ed. He goes, "You want cheese whiz on it?" I'm like, "Cheese whiz? No." "Well, then it's not a cheesesteak." "Well, I just want the regular cheese." "No, there's no such thing. That's the cheese. The cheese is the whiz." So I couldn't believe it. So this guy, right on my sandwich, you know, with cheese whiz out of a can. I couldn't believe it. Like, this is the thing in Philly. Now, they might not all do that. I don't know. But Ed was like totally normal. That's what happens. This place and the other place he was telling me about, they do it the same way.
That's funny.
So they put cheese whiz on your sandwich. So I said, "Yeah,
Sounds
lots of whiz." "Yeah, but it's not. It's bad for you, probably. Give you a heart attack. But it's delicious.
Oh.
Really, really good." Anyway, enough about
Philly
cheesesteaks. I don't know how we got off on that. But since we are talking about it, I have a question for you because I think we may have a different perspective on. Maybe I don't know. Maybe not.
Okay.
I shouldn't jump the gun. But let me just ask you a question. I want to talk to you for a second about cannabis.
Okay.
Are you excited about this topic?
It's just funny that you. It's
Yeah.
just funny.
I want to talk to you about it.
Okay.
I have always thought a specific way about drugs, period.
Right.
Until recently, I start hearing about things. I start seeing things where, like, cannabis is like the one thing that saved my kid
Really?
from convulsions, and like they would have. I mean, we could. That's not what this episode is about, but. So I want to make a general statement here. There are many medical conditions and issues that people have where they are on these drugs that are prescribed by physicians. Mm-hmm. And it helps keep them comfortable. It helps this, it helps that. And then it has all these side effects with it. Well, the problem is once you get on something like that, you got to take all these other pills. Then you got to take more pills for those pills, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
So the pattern continues. And this seems to be the thing that, like, people will do that helps tremendously. But the big question I have for you is, should it or should it not be legal, period?
I think it should be.
Wow.
I think it definitely should be.
Really?
And
you have just an opinion that quick about it. So
Yeah.
you've thought about this.
Yeah. I mean, it is in other states, and I don't know why it isn't, like, everywhere.
Why do you think it should be?
Because at the very least, it should get decriminalized.
Uh-huh.
That's crazy to me. But also, it is a plant.
Mm-hmm.
And you can abuse, like, anything.
Mm-hmm.
So to, like, target that specifically when it can also have so many, like, pros
Mm-hmm.
to people's lives, it just doesn't really make any sense to me that, like, you could get arrested for trying to, like, ease your anxiety with weed, but then I could also get completely wasted.
You can?
No, I just mean
I know. I'm just
in general,
I'm just playing.
completely wasted, and, like, which has so much more harm to not only yourself but your surroundings, and that could be, like, perfectly fine if I was 21. That doesn't make any sense to me.
It is kind of weird. It makes, as I get older, I start to think about things a little bit differently. And one of the things that I've seen over my life is the destruction that alcohol addiction causes in so many lives, and I've met so many people, marriages and families, and I mean, just complete destruction. So, which is totally okay, and absolutely we encourage it. It's
Alcoholism?
alcohol. Well, of course, that's the real underlining issue. I mean, I don't, but the world does.
Oh, when you said we, I thought you were talking about you and I. By the way, everyone, we encourage this.
Before we go today, we want to remind you to drink up.
Take a shot before every episode.
That's right. I had a conversation. We just got back from Colorado, yesterday, in fact, last night, where it's legal.
Are all drugs legal there? Or is that just Oregon?
No, that's just Oregon, I
Okay.
think. Yeah, I think this is I think it's pot. I think it's marijuana. But we had talked to this, I'm not going to say this guy's name, but we talked to this legendary record producer who back in the day worked with some of the greats of the music world. And he was like talking about this, and he had his own kind of beliefs about it. And the guy's, elderly now, he's up there in age and stuff. But he talked about what he saw in the music industry. And we're talking like, the Rat Pack. Like we're talking way back when. And he said the destruction that he watched in the people's lives from like whiskey and the hard stuff was unbelievable. He said it almost destroyed him. And he said he quit drinking. And somebody probably had a joint or something like that. And anyway, he experienced THC, and he said from that moment on, he never took another drink. He quit drinking.
Really?
Yeah, he didn't drink anymore. He found his forever wife. The guy had been married, I think he said 4 times. This is like his 4th or 5th wife that he's on now.
Yeah.
But they've been married for like 35 years.
Oh, okay.
Or even maybe almost 40. So it took, but it was the alcohol. His point was that the alcohol in excess was causing him to just, his marriages were failing. It was just his businesses were going to crap. And it was finally when he stopped. He said it's a completely different thing. So it always boggled his mind that alcohol is this thing that the government and the world and society encourage, drink up and bars and go parties and clubs and honky tonks and all this stuff. But THC is like the devil's, that's the one you want to stay away from.
Right.
And then he talked about how, that's because the pharmaceutical companies have got to make their money, and they got to like push hydrocodone and Valium and all this other kind of stuff.
Yeah, they're not going to push natural things.
That's the other thing. It grows from the ground.
Yeah, it's a plant.
People are going to listen to this and be like, I don't want to listen to Jack Vale anymore. He's advocating for drugs. I'm not.
I am.
No, you're not. She's not. You're not. Are you? Yeah.
It's hilarious.
You're advocating for the decriminalization of it.
And legalization.
Yes. Really? No kidding. Wow. Both of those things. All of it, or just that?
What do you mean all of it?
Every drug out there known to man?
No, but also I just haven't done any research really to say anything. As far as plant drugs go, I would say yes. Because I don't think a government has any right to ban a plant
that grows from the ground.
I think that's kind of ridiculous. As far as everything else, I really am not educated enough to even say to legalize it or not.
I would agree with that. This is one thing that I've noticed is that people that I meet who are really into holistic stuff, herbs and growing their own gardens in the backyards or having property or whatever, they start to open up their minds to think that this stuff, that cannabis is okay. And they go, well, there's so many health benefits and this, that, and the other. And I think there's a difference between that versus the recreational use of it and the overuse of it, in the same way that food is great, but too much food makes you fat. Right? It's like there's too much of anything. You can abuse anything. So anyways, I don't know. It's a very interesting topic. I've actually been thinking about having a guest here in the future. I'm not going to say who it is, but who is kind of an expert on this specific topic and goes into some of the things that it can be used for, that helps people with all kinds of different medical situations.
That'd be interesting to hear.
That would be really interesting. Yes, I agree. Speaking of the holistic stuff, I don't really understand your infatuation with rocks.
With crystals?
Yeah, or not just like rocks, right?
Yeah, they're rocks.
Yeah, are they
Yeah.
like pet rocks?
Yeah, I name them. I feed them. I take them to the park with me.
Oh my god!
I actually do because I wear them, so technically I do take them to the park with me. But the infatuation behind it, I think, is just the science behind them, like the vibration aspect of it. I don't really think.
I'm sorry. The what? The vibration?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Just like humans, just like any matter on Earth vibrates at a certain frequency. Others higher
Like what?
than some.
Everything vibrates?
Yeah. Like everything is constantly in vibration.
Everything.
Yes.
Even the
Yourself,
stillest
the
thing.
mic, yes.
Constant vibration.
And so that gives off a certain frequency. And since other things have higher vibrations, like rocks and crystals, it's a pretty solid vibration. It doesn't fluctuate. Humans fluctuate. Our frequency is constantly up and down, and that depends on things like your diet or like alcohol affects that. Your mood affects that. And so when you're constantly with something that is steady and has a steady frequency, then you're also affecting like your own vibration.
Really?
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's kind of foreign to me, to be honest with you.
So I don't go as far as some people do. As like some people think like, oh, like rose quartz, for example, is like the pink crystal. And some people will say rose quartz is for specifically love, and it's like high vibration in like this certain feeling, and it will bring love into your life and like help you in love areas or like relationships or friendships. I don't really believe all that, because then there's so many different kinds, and I haven't also done research on it.
How far do you take it then? What do you believe?
I just believe the matter of fact things. That they do radiate at a certain vibration.
See, I can buy that. I can buy some of that stuff that you're talking about, because God, as a Christian, as a self-proclaimed Christian, I understand that God created the world, and I believe that He created the earth, the heavens and the earth. So that includes plants that grow, that we just talk. I mean, God created this stuff. So there is a good, solid use for a lot of the stuff that He created, and including things like special rocks, in the same way that like you can find gold, and you can find, there's all these things that we know. And silver is like a major thing that's supposed to be good for our health. Did you know that like in some countries they even like put silver in the water or something and drink it? Because interesting.
Yeah, it is very interesting. That's why I love it. And I've just gotten to the point where I just collect them because I just like having them, and
they're beautiful.
Yeah, they are beautiful. I know sometimes I do things that make you feel a little weird, like as far as like the charging them aspect, where you have to like, I don't know much about this either, but to like charge your crystal, you can do it in different ways, but most of the time you'll just want to put them like in the dirt outside. And so then it's supposed to like, basically it's the same thing as when humans ground themselves. Do you know what that is? Like going for a walk.
When you take your shoes off and go outside, and you become like one with the earth and
yes, exactly.
And stuff. Your mother tries to get me to go outside without my shoes on
and ground yourself. It's very good for you.
I feel pretty grounded already. What's the difference between when I was a kid? I would go outside, no problem, no shoes on, run around all day.
Yeah.
There's an actual. You're saying that you believe there's an actual health benefit to that?
There is a health benefit to it.
There is.
Yeah.
And it's called grounding yourself?
And so it's basically similar to that. So like when people go outside to do that, putting your rocks in the soil is basically supposed to do the same thing for them, because that's where they came from. And so that's all that is. I don't know too much about that, but I did do that a couple times, and I didn't really notice any difference. But I do think it's interesting, and I love learning about it.
It is, yeah. I like learning new things too. It just seems, I don't know. I always just kind of thought they were beautiful rocks. But when somebody says, hey, they have some kind of a purpose, not just them being beautiful, but they have an actual purpose that's beneficial to your health, or they do something. I don't immediately doubt that, because I know God created so many things in this world that do have health benefits. So
Right.
I have no reason to
And we do have crystals in our brain. I'm pretty sure it's called magnetite, but that might be wrong. Don't take my word for it. Yeah, look it up. We have
keep talking. I'm going to look this up.
we have millions of crystals in our brain, and I'm pretty sure that's the one it's called. But hematite also sounds familiar. That it might be that. So
Magnetite is a mineral. This is what Wikipedia says. Magnetite, and then I'll explain it to you. You can tell me if this is what you're talking about.
Okay.
Is a mineral and one of the main iron ores with the chemical formula Fe blah 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 blah. Okay, it is one of the oxides of iron and is ferromagnet or ferromagnet. It is attracted to a magnet and can be magnetized to become a permanent magnet itself. That's interesting.
that's in our brain. Isn't that crazy?
Well, that doesn't say anything about it being in our brain.
Look at this. I'll find this.
Okay. That
Okay.
just talks about I don't know. What I just read doesn't actually say where to find it or where
Oh, okay.
it is. So
Most regions of the brain have 5 million magnetite crystals per gram of tissue. The tough membrane that covers the brain had 100 million crystals per gram. Oh, I literally just read that. Each human brain on average contains 7 billion particles of magnetite. Isn't that interesting?
that is interesting.
Yeah.
But crystals, I don't think that that's the same kind of crystals that we're.
Why?
Well, it just says because things in your blood crystallize. So I don't think that's the same crystal. You know what I mean?
It is, though.
You believe it is?
I don't believe it is. Science does.
Okay. Okay.
But you can read all about it.
All right.
Chris is showing me a picture. You're saying yes, it is. See?
Oh, our fact checker back there.
Yeah, he's
saying
fact
is it-
checking, and he said yes.
Okay, it's legit. All
Yeah.
right. All
so,
right.
but I
Chris is
just
showing
think
us-
it's really silly when so many people want to completely like shut it out and be like, that's so stupid. And it does get stereotyped a lot, like, oh, you believe in crystals, blah, blah. But when it comes down to it and there's actual science behind it, I think it's perfectly okay to like have an open mind about it and be like, oh, that's so interesting. Like, I wonder why it's on Earth. I wonder how, like,
Yeah.
but so many people do want to just shut it down and be like, oh, that's so silly, like,
Yeah.
whatever.
It's still.
I think it's very interesting.
It's still interesting. All the stuff that we're talking about today people are going to listen to and be like looking it up themselves and like doing their own
Yeah.
their own research, which apparently now is a bad thing.
To do
what,
your
know-
own research?
Yeah, that's just a bad phrase in general. If you watch any late night talk show hosts,
Oh, why?
yeah, because they make fun of you for doing your own research.
Oh, really?
And not just believe in everything that you hear.
Who's making fun of people for doing their own research? I've never seen that.
Well, there's political things going on all the time in the news now. So every time you say the phrase "do your own research," you're
people
looked
think
at as
you're-
like a conspiracy theorist or something like that.
Yeah.
You know? Did we have a light
Gotcha.
just go off over here or something?
Yeah,
I think a light just went off. What am I missing?
that's okay.
All right, we're just gonna keep going. If you noticed it in the show, who cares?
Yeah.
The cannabis thing when I was growing up, that was the big no-no.
big
You were a
debate.
drug addict. You were a pothead. You were
Oh.
whatever. And that still exists. But the difference I think is that now people are starting to see the health benefits, so they're becoming more accepting of it, especially because people are dying from all of the poisons that in the foods that we eat, in the in the air, in the all this stuff.
Yeah.
And so when people are finding some kind of good from natural good health benefit from the ground, it's kind of like, you have to kind of think twice about it, especially because all the man-made stuff has all these
Right.
crazy side effects and stuff.
Yeah.
This morning, me and your brothers were having a very heated conversation before you got here about marriage.
Okay.
And I'm dying to know what your opinion is on this.
Okay.
Okay. So we were talking about how I hear Archie in the
I
background.
know, I can hear him
I'm
huffing
just
and
waiting
puffing.
if those footsteps come in here and he becomes a part of the show. And he heard me say his name, so here he comes.
Pitter patter.
I think he's coming in here. Now he won't come in. You know why?
Why, the equipment?
Yeah, he'll see all this
He's
all this
so
stuff.
scared.
Yeah, he'll be like, he'll just freeze and then he'll turn around and
Yeah.
start going the other way.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't think I can fit through that.
Yeah.
We were talking about whether or not marriage. Well, how did the conversation come? I'm trying to think how it came up. There was some guy on social media who said, if you want to get married, get married. But when you get married, what you're doing is you're making a commitment not only to God but to the state, and it's under the state. It's this legalistic, thing. I come from the perspective that you have to get married. I mean,
Right.
I believe that you should. In fact, I believe that you should get married before you have kids. And I also understand that things don't always work out like that. But I do think that that's the way that God kind of designed things and intended for it to be.
Okay.
But then we started to talk about what is the idea of marriage. What was marriage back in like Bible times when that was taught, for example, versus today? Because I notice all of the Christians around me are talking about, they believe that way. They believe get married, that you have to get married, you got to get the thing signed, and you got to go through the thing. Mm-hmm. But they also, on the flip side of that, hate the government. They hate the city. They hate the state.
Yeah.
Everybody's telling us what to do. They're not looking out for your best interest. And yet, this is something that now has become not just under God, but under this legalistic organization now too. Did I say that right, Chris? Or no? Remember, we just talked about this today. Which side were you on?
I think you need to be legally married.
Chris said what I think, which is
Yeah.
you got to be legally married because that's what's taught in the scripture. But Jake was making these points. Your brother was making these points about there's a difference between being married under God and being married under the
law.
Under the law, yeah, exactly. You ever thought about it?
Yeah. It sounds like I would agree with Jake based on what you just said. I think marriage under God and under the law are very different, but I haven't read the scripture, so I don't know what that says. But
Well, I know that we talked earlier. We decided that when marriage back in those times were still marriage under the law. It was still illegal.
what about before then?
Well, then what are we talking about? Adam and Eve?
No, I mean, like, there's what's it called? Like, we have information from before then.
Before
Bible
what?
times? Before, like...
I don't know. Yeah, maybe some. Yeah,
Yeah, we do.
Supposedly, I don't know how much of that stuff is accurate, but
We do.
Huh? What?
We do.
What?
There's lots of information that you can find. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I mean, dinosaurs and stuff like that. Is that what you mean?
No, like
Oh.
other like civilizations and
Before
world
Adam and Eve?
stuff. No, before
Oh.
Jesus.
Oh, yeah. Well, of
And
course. Yeah, that's
before-
called the Old Testament.
No, before
That's-
the Old Testament as
Oh,
well.
so that before the Old Testament would be before Adam and Eve because that was the Old Testament.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
Then yes.
That's okay. But
Yeah.
yeah. I don't think we have enough information to continue having a well thought out conversation about this topic, if you want to know the truth.
I don't know. I think that it's easier to get married on paper because if you're going to be living your lives together and you want to like buy a house together or like buy a car, like legally that makes things easier.
Can I tell you something?
Yeah.
This is gonna be a very real father-daughter moment now,
Okay.
I'm gonna tell you. One of the many reasons I think that marriage is important under the institution of marriage in the traditional sense is because when a guy doesn't want to marry you and they come up with every excuse why not to, we don't have to, it's because they want their cake and eat it too. It's because there's no reason to. We're already here. Look, we already live together. We already always hang out together. Because they don't want the commitment. Because they know that right now they have a freedom that they will not have when they get married. You say, well,
Right.
you get divorced. No, because first of all, that's not what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to get married and not get divorced. You're supposed to get married and that's it,
no
right?
one wants to get divorced. And I do think if someone has that mindset, then that's definitely a red flag, unless both of you as a couple agreed that you don't want to do that.
Yeah, except
if it's mutual, then totally cool, good for y'all. But if it's not, then I do think it's excuses, and you should definitely find someone who has the same views as you.
I think
marriage.
I think if it's mutual, y'all need to get right with God.
Why? That has nothing to do
figure
with
out-
the law.
Well, I mean, if somebody's not a Christian, they're not a Christian. They don't believe that anyway. But
Yeah.
But I think for the most part, we are seeing a lot of stuff today. I mean, listen, there's a lot of stuff that we're seeing these days in within the church and among Christians and stuff. And I didn't see none of this stuff when I was a kid growing up. It was very different. It was a very different time back then, and it was very much more kind of in the biblical sense. You were raised in a Christian home, you go to church, and you kind of know what the Bible says about these things. Today, people are scared to death to speak their minds about anything, and it's almost like anything goes in a way. It's like, it's okay to do this and it's okay to do that. I will tell you, you live together, boyfriend, girlfriend, live together situation. People who are not Christians, by the way, who are listening to this podcast probably think I'm crazy because they just don't live to the same standards that I. No, I'm just kidding. But what I'm saying is, it is true that if you live together and are trying to tell those around you that it's just for convenience. It's just it's cheaper and it's blah blah blah. We're not stupid. As a mom and as a dad and as a people that have been around the block a few times, we're not stupid. We know what's going on.
That is so not true.
Oh, that is
I really disagree with that.
How could you?
What? How could I disagree with that?
How could?
Because I know personally one of my really close friends who's about to live with her boyfriend in LA because it's really expensive there and they can't afford to live separate.
No. I'm talking about sleeping together and stuff. I'm talking about like you. I'm being more specific. I'm sorry. No, I'm being more specific.
No, but you said we all know like why you're doing that. And you used money as an excuse, but I'm saying that can really be the case sometimes.
Oh, you're right. Yeah. Let me fall back on that. I'll take a step back. You are right about that. What I meant to make more clear in what I was saying is that I don't know how we got on this topic. I'm sorry. We shouldn't have gone down this trail, but I was just meaning that in the stricter sense of church going and Christianity and how I was raised as a kid, which I actually did the same thing kind of for you guys, and set these standards and principles too. I remember people using that as an excuse, and today it's happening more than ever, where, we're just doing it for convenience sake, when really they just kind of want to, do their thing, and then later, and then you're like, come on, we know what's going on in there. Oh no, we keep hands off policy. Yeah, right. When you live together with someone, that's all I'm saying. So don't ever let things come to that. That's what I'm saying. Just be a good girl. That's all. Unless you want to change the subject.
Oh my god.
Let's change the subject.
Yeah.
This is something that's a pretty disgusting topic.
Oh no.
Yeah.
We've had a lot of disgusting topips.
I know,
this
but
episode.
Ghislaine Maxwell's in prison now.
Ooh, yes, she is.
Do you believe that?
She's should be in there for life. Yes.
Yes. Well, good. I'm glad you finished that question.
What was your question?
I do too. I think it's disgusting. This is what I want to go out on. This is the topic I want to go out on. Okay. First of all, do you believe that Jeffrey Epstein killed himself? Just so you know, pretty much nobody thinks he killed himself.
I don't know.
If they're being honest.
I don't know anything about it other than everyone says Hillary Clinton did it.
Right.
Right? Wasn't that a thing?
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know anything. I don't know. Because some people are like, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I guess nobody knows,
Chris
because
wants to say something, I think.
yeah, I guess nobody knows for sure, because they don't have only Bill and Hillary have that evidence.
I mean, he probably didn't because he wasn't like going to be in for life.
You didn't catch that.
What?
Go ahead.
Oh,
no, go
sorry.
ahead. It's okay.
Did you
Go
make
ahead.
a joke?
There's no way that I'm going to be able to go back to that at this point. No, I'll say it. What I said was, there's no way that anybody can prove it because only Bill and Hillary have that evidence.
Oh.
See,
gosh.
it's kind of funny. Okay, go ahead.
Was he in for life in prison or no? Was he waiting his trial? When did he die?
I don't even remember anymore.
Remember?
No, I don't even remember
I was
anymore.
gonna say.
I think he was awaiting trial, wasn't he? Because that's what they were afraid of, was that he was going to start reading the names of the. So that's why, and then he died crazily.
So he probably did, because I think that if he, no, I think he didn't. That's what I meant to say. He probably didn't, because why? Like, he was gonna be in there anyways. Why would he not? Unless he really had some pact with the other people that were involved that he couldn't say anything. And then, but I don't know. I know literally not that much about it.
Well, here's the thing that doesn't make any sense to me. This happens with Jeffrey Epstein before he has a chance to get the information out there. Mm-hmm. Finally, they find Ghislaine Maxwell, bring her to trial.
Yeah.
In court, she had to read the list of names of her clients.
Okay.
Do you know who those people are?
No.
Me neither.
And that's the thing. That's so crazy because it was just shoved in our face for months?
Johnny Depp.
Yes. That trial was everywhere. Every single detail about it.
Yeah.
It was all over the news and social media.
Yeah.
And I found that out on, I don't know where. I think it was a TikTok, honestly, and I saw someone talking about it. And I had no idea she even had her trial.
Yeah, no, they hid it. They swept it under the rug. So that when the trial ended and she was sentenced and all of that, we knew how much time she got and we knew that she was on her way to jail. Mm-hmm. And that was the end of that. The only thing that we saw for that entire time was Amber Turd and Johnny Depp. And that was, I was trying to think of something to rhyme with his last name.
Johnny Depp. Respect on his name.
But, yeah.
That's crazy.
It was interesting. I got caught up in the Johnny Depp thing too.
Yeah.
And it was fun to watch it and listen to it and everything like that. But it was very fun actually. But I didn't think about the other stuff that was going on. I had no idea.
Yeah, I had no
Why
idea
are they hiding
either.
that? Why are they hiding that? Think about that. I could tell you, because some stuff has been released.
Like what?
Like Bill Clinton. I mean,
okay.
and I'm not going to name all the names, but celebrities, actors and a lot of really big people, directors. And it seemed very, very heavily on Hollywood.
Right.
A lot of Hollywood people, which is kind of interesting given what just happened with Harvey Weinstein and him going off and, and that whole thing. There's something dark and heavy
in Hollywood
about Hollywood.
Yeah, since forever.
Yeah, since forever, exactly.
Right. But that's just so crazy that you can't find the list anywhere.
There's
names?
a couple of sources out there. You can look up Jeffrey Epstein's little black book.
Right.
They call it. And you can see his
I watched a
actual
documentary,
scans.
the one that was on Netflix. Did you watch that?
Oh yeah, I watched some of it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then they have the flight list of who went to his island. Right?
Yes.
Is that real?
Well, yes, that is real. But here's the thing: do you believe that you could have befriended Jeffrey Epstein? You could have been in his circle of friends and flown on his jet without knowing who he was and what he was doing?
Maybe. But by the time you got there, then you would know. So but none of these people have said anything.
Yeah, I think no. I think so. Some of these people were, on multiple flights again and again with him to his island where these things were taking place.
Yeah.
It doesn't add up.
No, it doesn't.
Creepy stuff, man.
So creepy.
Yeah.
I hate it. I went through this one period of time where I was on Twitter, just like down the rabbit hole, like just researching and reading like so many things. And I got so like emotionally attached to it. I had to like completely delete Twitter to like just and not look at it and don't do any research, because I don't know what it was, but it just made me feel so bad. Just overall in general. Like I couldn't, it made me sick to my stomach. And then it was hard to differentiate the things that were real and the things that were conspiracy and the things that like, just stuff like that. So I just like completely stopped reading into it because it creeps me out so much.
I know what you mean.
I don't want to think about it.
Yeah. You have to, at some point, you finally come to the realization that all of the conspiracy theories that you're reading are true. They're all real. And those are
well,
those
not
are
all
real.
of them.
No, they're all real. All of the conspiracy theories are real. No. I'm just kidding, but it is true though that the more of that stuff you read, think about this. I believe that a lot of it is absolutely accurate and real, by the way, but not all of it too. There's a lot of stuff that a lot of made up crap out there, a lot of garbage. But it is kind of weird to read that stuff and you feel like almost a darkness, right? Because there's so much, you're learning about stuff that you're ingesting your brain full of stuff that's really not helpful for you to have a good day.
Right. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true.
It affects me so much. I hate it.
Yeah. So did you stop looking at all that stuff? What was the weirdest, what you would call conspiracy theory that you read? Whether or not you believe it's true or not.
I don't believe this
one?
anymore, but I did when I was like really into it, like reading and stuff. There was this one, it freaked me out so bad, and it was about old McDonald's, like the restaurant back in the day, and there were like these old recordings of this man who, I don't remember who he was, but head of McDonald's or whatever, talking about how the food was actually, some of it was human food.
Human meat?
Yeah, human meat.
Wow.
And I was like, I don't know how I even got to that. It was from it. I don't know. One thing just led to the next. And when you go down there, there's like in the rabbit hole and all these tweets and stuff, there's crazy stuff. But that was one of them. And I don't believe that anymore, but because I'm pretty sure I read something that was like debunking it. But that made me feel so disgusting and gross. And I didn't know if it was like still a thing or if it was real or not. And I don't know. That one was really creepy. And there was a one that was worse, but I don't want to talk about that one either because that one was way creepier.
Ooh.
It was about Hollywood though. And also, speaking of this, because this is on the same topic, have you seen Jim Carrey on, what was it? It was at some talk show. I think it was Jimmy Kimmel. Did you ever watch him on Jimmy Kimmel?
I don't remember. Maybe.
Jim Carrey is so fascinating to me, seeing like him throughout his career and his life, because he's a very well-known Hollywood actor who's been doing it like forever. And he was interviewed by Jimmy Kimmel, and he was talking about like all these weird conspiracies that I was reading about as well. And he was almost like affirming them and being like, oh, Jimmy, like you and all the other talk show hosts like go out and do your rituals. And he was like doing this with like symbolism. And I don't know, that was really weird to me too, because obviously like he's a comedic actor. So a lot of people were like, yeah, he's just being funny.
He's
like
making
that's
fun of the
his
conspiracy
job.
theories.
Yeah, exactly. Making fun of the conspiracy theories. But then also Jim Carrey, yes, he's a comedic actor, but there's also other interviews where he talks about what he believes, which is that Hollywood is evil and that I don't know. He's just very interesting. And a lot of his interviews, are kind of sad to watch because he talks about how like nothing matters and how like everything is just like what it is. And I don't know, so weird. But that interview freaked me out a little bit. And that was one where I was like, I can't tell if he's joking around or what this is, but I did not like it.
I've always heard that he struggles with stuff, some dark stuff.
Yeah.
Jenny McCarthy, when she was married to him, they were married for a while.
I did not know that.
And she started to talk about it. She's like, you would think that, being married to Jim Carrey, you would just laugh a lot. And she's like, I have to tell you, you really don't laugh that much. And it was kind of humorous the way that she said it, but it was also kind of sad in a way.
That is sad. It's always like the funniest people or like the happiest people that you
Robin
like,
Williams,
Right.
There was something said too, like Robin Williams was known to make people laugh, obviously, and but he was in this movie 1 Hour Photo. Have you ever seen that?
Mm-mm.
Really?
Never seen it.
Ooh, you gotta watch that.
Okay.
This movie, it's a thriller, and it's about he's a guy in the photo lab at like a Walmart kind of place or whatever, and he's developing photos, and he takes an interest in this one particular family who comes in, and he's developing their photos. He takes an interest in the whole family and becomes kind of a stalker on this family, finds out where they live, and none of it is funny. Zero. It's a complete dramatic role for him. It was a very creepy thriller, but his performance was absolutely outstanding in it. But you have to wonder, like, there's so much creepy stuff that goes on in Hollywood. It has to impact, these people. Do you think that Jim Carrey was, like, trying to say something in that interview? Do you think he was just saying it in jest as a joke because people are crazy for believing in conspiracies?
I don't know. I really don't. He would know out of everyone if like that stuff is real or not, being like directly in it.
Well, there's videos, and I can't even think of the lady's name. There's this really creepy, like witch demonic lady or something. She's some artsy fartsy lady who like does all this art and stuff. And maybe you saw clips of this, maybe you didn't. I don't know. But she was like making cakes out of like to look like people and stuff. Do you remember those? Like,
yes,
and she would do this big party, and celebrities would come to this party, and they would cut open these cakes and like redwood spill. I mean, it was disgusting. It was like gross,
Yeah.
And people were there. Like Will Ferrell was there, and they were all having a good time, and they were all. It's just really kind of weird that Hollywood as a whole could be a topic for an episode that we should probably save for another time.
Yeah.
Because it is, I mean, I'll stop the conversation with this, but it is kind of weird that Hollywood is the one that is the big organization that tries to define morality to us. And then you find out that they are in charge of the creepiest, they're involved in the weirdest stuff out there, right? Hollywood, politicians, all this. The elites, right? That's what they call them, the elitists. It's true. It's weird. That's why you got to do your own research.
Yeah. That's a great closer.
I think so, too. This was like not really how fun and lighthearted was this one? Looking back, I feel like it was pretty serious.
Yeah, lots of serious subjects.
So here's to being lighthearted in the next episode. Thank you all for listening. We really appreciate it. And we can't wait to bring on more guests, which we will be doing very, very soon. Thank you for joining us. We love you. And also in the comments and wherever you're listening to this, feel free to shoot us an email. Hey, let's talk about that real quick.
Okay.
thejackvaleshow@gmail.com. You can send us an email, thejackvaleshow@gmail.com. And also, you can, if you're watching this on YouTube or Facebook or wherever you might be checking this out, you can leave a comment, share this with your friends, and anywhere that you listen to podcasts, you will be able to find this show. Spotify, Apple, all that good stuff. So we love you, and we'll see you next time.
See ya.